Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive, powered by Growth Suite. And Growth Suite is that tool that helps you run, those smart discount campaigns. The ones that boost conversions and sales like crazy. You can test it out for free on your Shopify store. Just go to the Shopify App Store and give it a whirl. But for now, we're diving into something pretty interesting today: emotional targeting. We're going deep on this conversion Bible article called Emotional Targeting, connecting with your Shopify customers on a deeper level. And we're going to figure out how to connect with customers on an emotional level to get those conversions just absolutely skyrocketing. And most buying decisions, they aren't some kind of like logical equation, are they? They're based on feelings.
It's true. And actually, I have a stat for you that might just blow your mind. 95% of our purchasing decisions actually happen subconsciously, driven by emotions. It's not just a small factor. It's the main driving force behind why people choose one product over another, one brand over another. And you know what's even more fascinating? The impact this has on building that loyal customer base, those people who keep coming back for more.
Okay, hold on. Let's unpack this whole emotional targeting thing. I mean, it's not like we're just going to like slap a picture of a cute puppy on an ad and call it a day.
Right.
There's got to be more to it.
Way more to it. Emotional targeting is about really understanding your ideal customer. Like, what makes them tick?
Yeah.
What are their desires, their motivations, even their fears? Once you understand that, then you can craft a shopping experience that speaks directly to those emotions, making them feel seen and understood.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light here. It's kind of like choosing a restaurant sometimes. You just feel like a certain vibe, right? You might pick the one with the cozy atmosphere and the friendly staff, even if the food at the place next door is like supposedly a tad better.
Exactly. You're not just paying for the food on the plate. You're buying into the whole experience, the feeling it gives you. Online shopping is the same way. People are buying into a feeling and experience.
That makes a lot of sense. But, and maybe this is the dumb question, but how do emotions actually make someone click that buy now button? Is there like some scientific reason for that?
It's not a dumb question at all. There's a whole fascinating area of psychology around how emotions and logic work together in our decision making. Have you ever heard of System 1 and System 2 thinking?
Can't say I have.
Well, psychologists talk about these two systems. System 1 is our fast, intuitive, emotion-driven system, while System 2 is slower, more deliberate and logic-driven. Most of our buying decisions, they're happening in System 1 territory.
So you're saying we're all secretly impulse shoppers at heart?
Not exactly, but it does highlight that even when we think we're being super logical, comparing features and prices, those initial gut feelings, those emotional responses, they often tip the scales. It's about how the brand makes us feel. Does it make us feel understood, excited, secure? Those emotions are powerful stuff.
Right, this is where it gets really interesting for me. How do we actually target specific emotions? Like, is there a formula for making someone feel FOMO, for example?
Well, one helpful way to think about it is through what's called the valence and arousal model. It basically categorizes emotions. Based on how positive or negative they are, that's valence. And how intense or mild they are, that's arousal.
Okay, so something like excitement would be high arousal, positive valence, like when a brand launches a new product and there's all that hype.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. Then you've got emotions like fear or urgency, high arousal but negative valence. This is where things like FOMO come into play. Remember that time you were frantically trying to buy tickets to your favorite band's reunion tour before they sold out? That heart-pounding, gotta-have-it-now feeling? That's FOMO in action.
Oh, I totally get it now. That was exactly me last week when that limited edition sneaker line dropped. Totally fell for it.
See, it happens to the best of us. But that's also why it's crucial to use those tactics carefully. You gotta be authentic. Customers can spot a fake a mile away.
Right, you don't want to be that brand crying wolf every other week.
Yeah.
What about other types of emotions?
Well, think about emotions like relaxation and comfort, low arousal, positive valence. Think self-care products, meditation apps, cozy sweaters, things that evoke those calm, soothing feelings. And then you've got sadness or dissatisfaction, which, while negative, can be effective. If you're offering a solution to a problem, think about those fed up with messy hair ads for hair products.
Okay, so it's about choosing the right emotional approach based on your product and your brand. But how do we actually put this into practice? What are some specific emotional triggers we can use on our Shopify stores?
Let's dive into a few powerful ones. Let's start with FOMO, the fear of missing out. It's all about creating a sense of urgency.
So like those limited stock alerts or countdown timers?
Yeah.
That make you feel like you have to buy right now.
Precisely. You can use messaging like only a few left to give that extra push to those who are on the fence. But remember, the key is to be authentic. A/B testing is your best friend here. Try different messages, different timers, and see what actually works for your audience without feeling forced.
What about that feeling of wanting to belong, to be part of the in-group? I know I've bought things before just because I saw a bunch of people using them on social media.
That's social proof, and it's incredibly powerful. We humans are social creatures. We look to others for validation. Reviews, testimonials, user-generated content, they all tap into that desire to feel like we're making the right choice, the popular choice.
Oh, and those little pop-up notifications that say things like, someone in Chicago just bought this.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that make you feel like you're missing out on something that everyone else is in on.
Those are great. It's all about creating that sense of community, of shared experience, even if it's just through a purchase.
All right, what about trust? I'm definitely way less likely to buy from a website that looks shady or feels insecure.
Trust is absolutely essential, especially online. Think about it. You're asking people to hand over their personal information, their credit card details. They need to feel confident that their information is safe and that you're a legitimate business.
So things like SSL badges, money-back guarantees, clear return policies, those are all trust signals, right?
Absolutely. It's about removing any barriers to purchase, any lingering doubts or anxieties. The more secure and trustworthy your site feels, the more likely people are to click that buy button.
This is all making so much sense. Okay, last one for this section, liking and reciprocity. What's the psychology behind that?
It's pretty simple, really. We like to buy from people and brands we like. It sounds obvious, but if you can create a genuine connection, a sense of warmth and authenticity, people are more likely to choose you over the competition.
So like having a relatable brand story, offering helpful free content, or even just being super responsive to customer inquiries.
Yes. It's about giving before you get. Those small gestures of kindness, of going the extra mile, they build goodwill and foster a sense of reciprocity.
They like that free sample they give you at the grocery store. You feel obligated to at least check out the product, right?
Exactly. It creates a subtle sense of obligation, like, hey, they were nice to me, so I should at least consider buying something.
Okay, so we've got these powerful emotional triggers at our disposal. But how do we actually apply them throughout the customer journey? We wouldn't use FOMO in a thank you email, right? It's got to be strategic.
You're exactly right. It's all about timing and context. Let's break down each stage of the customer journey and see how these emotional triggers can come into play, shall we?
Let's do it. Starting with awareness. Someone's just discovering your brand. How do we grab their attention emotionally? What's that first impression going to be?
First impressions are everything. You need to make an impact and fast. Think about using emotional hooks in your ads and social media posts. What feeling do you want to evoke? Curiosity, excitement, intrigue. Remember, every platform has a different vibe. Instagram is all about visuals, while Google Ads might rely more on strong, benefit-driven headlines.
And a strong brand story can really make people feel connected to your mission and values right off the bat. I know I'm way more likely to support a brand if I feel like they stand for something I believe in.
Absolutely. Even a brief glimpse into your brand's values can create a powerful emotional connection.
Okay, so someone sees your ad, they vibe with your story, and now they're on your website checking out your products. We're in the consideration stage now, right?
Right. Now it's all about showcasing those products in a way that speaks to their emotions. Emotionally charged product descriptions are key here. Don't just list features, paint a picture. How will this product make the customer feel? What problem will it solve in their life?
So instead of saying, these socks are made of 100% organic cotton, we'd say something like, slip into ultimate comfort and breathability with our sustainably sourced cotton socks.
Exactly. Appeal to the senses, highlight the benefits, and don't be afraid to use language that evokes emotion. And remember those reviews and testimonials we were talking about. Strategically placing them around your product pages can really help alleviate any doubts a customer might have. See, everyone else loves them, so you will too.
Okay, we're getting close now. Someone's added a product to their cart, maybe browsed around a little more. This is the moment of truth, right? The purchase stage. How do we make sure those add to cart clicks actually convert into sales?
The checkout process is a critical point. It's got to be as smooth and reassuring as possible. Display trust badges, prominently reinforce your security measures. Anything to instill that sense of confidence and peace of mind, that makes people feel good about handing over their payment info.
And a touch of urgency can help sometimes, right? If it's appropriate for the brand, I mean. I know I've fallen for those last chance messages more than a few times.
A little nudge can go a long way. A subtle countdown timer or a low stock notification can work wonders. Just remember, use them sparingly and authentically. And don't underestimate the power of a call to action. That speaks to emotion. Get your dream look is way more compelling than a plain old add to cart.
Love it. Okay, so they've clicked buy now, and the confetti's flying. Congrats. But the journey's not over yet. What about the post-purchase experience? How do we turn one-time buyers into loyal, raving fans?
This is where you solidify that emotional connection. It's about making people feel valued and appreciated long after they've clicked buy. A genuine thank you email is a must. Let them know you appreciate their business and that they made the right choice.
And a personalized note or a little freebie tucked into their package can make someone feel extra special, like they're more than just a transaction.
Exactly. Those little touches go a long way in building loyalty. And don't forget to invite them to join your community, your social media group, your email list, your rewards program, whatever you've got going on. It all makes people feel like they're part of something bigger.
All right, we've mapped out the emotional journey. And it's making me rethink my whole marketing strategy. But how do we actually implement all of this on Shopify? Where do we even begin?
Let's break it down. First up, your visual design. That includes everything from your brand colors to the images you use to your typography. Each element contributes to the overall feeling someone gets when they land on your site.
So like using red for excitement, blue for trust, green for calmness. Is there a cheat sheet for that?
There are definitely some general guidelines, but ultimately it depends on your brand and the emotions you want to evoke. Think about those emotions. And choose colors, images, and fonts that align with those feelings. Lifestyle imagery is great for showing how your products fit into someone's ideal life, like this could be you living your best life with our product. And don't underestimate the power of video. It can convey emotions way more vividly than static images.
Got it. What about the actual words we use? I'm guessing shop now isn't going to cut it anymore.
Shop now gets the job done. But it's not exactly inspiring, is it? Copywriting is all about using language that sparks emotion. Words like discover, feel, imagine. Words that tap into curiosity and empathy. Storytelling is huge here too. Weave narratives into your product descriptions, your about page, your social media posts. Let people connect with your brand on a deeper, more human level.
And focus on the benefits over the features, right? Explain how the product will make the customer feel, instead of just listing out what it's made of.
Exactly. People don't buy products. They buy solutions. They buy feelings. Make sure your headlines are compelling and benefit-driven. Instead of introducing our new line of skincare, try something like, get that radiant glow you've always dreamed of.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Visuals and copy are nailed. What about the overall user experience? You know how easy the site is to use, how the checkout process works, all of that?
User experience, or UX, plays a huge role in shaping someone's emotional response to your brand. Think about it. Have you ever been so frustrated with a clunky website that you just abandon your cart?
All the time. It's the word.
Right. So make sure your website is intuitive, easy to navigate, and there's no friction in the checkout process. No one wants to fill out a million forms or jump through hoops just to buy something. And consider adding those little delightful micro interactions, those subtle animations or hover effects that make a website feel more playful and engaging.
I love those. It's like they add a little bit of magic to the experience.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the Shopify store itself. But what about connecting with customers? Even when they're not on our site, that's where content marketing comes in, right? Blog, social media, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Content marketing is an amazing way to build those emotional connections and nurture relationships. Your blog, your email list, your social media channels, they're all opportunities to engage with your audience on a deeper level. We've got a whole other section we can dive into on that.
Perfect, because I have a million questions about that.
Yeah.
But first,
a word from our sponsor. This episode of Conversion Bible is brought to you by Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you to run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free.
okay, so we just spent a bunch of time talking about like the Shopify store itself. But what about those moments when customers aren't on our site? How do we connect with them out there in the, wild world of the internet?
That's where content marketing comes in. Think of it like this. Your Shopify store is your main stage, but content marketing is how you build that hype and anticipation before the show even starts.
I like that analogy. So like what kind of content are we talking about here?
Well, think about the emotions you want to evoke and tailor your content accordingly. For example, blog posts could be about relatable challenges that your target audience faces, customer success stories that inspire, or even behind-the-scenes glimpses into your brand that builds a more personal connection.
So if I'm selling like eco-friendly cleaning products, I can have a blog post about like 5 easy swaps for a more sustainable kitchen.
Exactly. You're providing valuable information while subtly positioning your brand as the solution.
Okay, that makes sense. What about email marketing? I feel like most of the emails I get are just generic promotions that end up in the trash.
Email is actually a goldmine for emotional targeting if you use it strategically. Think personalization, use people's names. Segment your list based on their interests and past purchases. And craft email sequences that tell a story. You want people to open your emails because they're excited to see what you have to say, not because they're expecting another boring discount offer.
So instead of like blasting everyone with the same 10% off everything email, I could send one group a series of tips on how to care for their new product. Another group, some user-generated content featuring your product in action. And maybe a third group, a sneak peek at an upcoming launch.
Now you're getting it. By segmenting your audience and tailoring the content, you're speaking to them on a much more personal level, which in turn builds stronger emotional connections.
I'm starting to see how powerful this can be. What about social media? It seems like everyone's on there these days.
Social media is all about real-time conversation and community building. Use platform-specific strategies. Instagram is great for visually appealing content and stories. Twitter for quick updates and witty banter. Facebook for building groups and hosting live events. Think about how you can use each platform to create a sense of belonging and encourage people to interact with your brand.
So like hosting Q&A sessions on Instagram stories, running polls on Twitter to get people talking, or creating a Facebook group where customers can share tips and advice.
Exactly. The more you can get people talking and engaging with your brand, the more they'll feel like they're part of something special, something bigger than just a transaction.
Okay, so we've got all these amazing strategies in place. We're creating killer content, sending personalized emails, building thriving communities on social media. But how do we know if it's actually working? How do we measure the effectiveness of all this emotional targeting magic?
Measuring your success is just as important as the strategies themselves. You've got to know what's resonating with your audience and what's falling flat, so you can refine your approach and get the most bang for your buck.
All right, lay it on me. What metrics should we be tracking?
First off, look at your engagement metrics. Are people spending time on your site? Are they bouncing off quickly? Are they sharing your content on social media? Are they liking, commenting, and joining the conversation? These are all early indicators that you're connecting with people on an emotional level.
Right, if people are sticking around and interacting with your content, it's a good sign they're feeling something.
Exactly. And ultimately, we want those feelings to translate into action, right? So we've also got to look at conversion attribution. Did that heartwarming customer testimonial on your product page lead to more sales? Did that email series we talked about result in a higher click-through rate?
So it's not just about tracking vanity metrics like likes and follows. It's about connecting the dots between those emotional touch points and actual sales.
Exactly. It takes a little more effort to track that, but it's worth it to understand what's actually moving the needle for your business.
What about getting feedback directly from customers? That's got to be valuable, right?
Qualitative feedback is gold. Send out surveys, read those customer comments. Pay attention to what people are saying about their experience with your brand. What emotions are they expressing? What resonates with them? What do they love and what could be better? This type of feedback can give you invaluable insights into how people are feeling about your brand, not just what they're doing.
This is making me want to go through all my customer reviews right now. But it seems like there are so many moving parts to track. How do we isolate what's actually driving those conversions?
A/B testing is your secret weapon here. Change one emotional element at a time. A headline, an image, a call to action, and see which version performs better. Have a clear hypothesis in mind. For example, will adding a countdown timer to my product page increase conversions? And then track the results carefully. Let the data guide your decisions.
So it's all about experimenting, seeing what works, and constantly refining our approach.
Exactly. Emotional targeting isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. It takes time, experimentation, and a deep understanding of your audience to really nail it.
This has been an incredible deep dive. Before we wrap up, is there anything else our listeners should keep in mind as they start implementing these strategies?
It's really important to remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
Okay, so we're talking ethics now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've been talking about all these powerful techniques you can use to tap into people's emotions and really influence their buying decisions. But it's crucial to do it in a way that's ethical and sustainable.
Right. We don't want to be like manipulating people or anything like that.
Exactly. Emotional targeting should be about building trust and genuine connections, not about exploiting people's emotions for a quick sale.
So what are some red flags we should be looking out for?
Well, first off, be wary of using fear tactics too aggressively. Like, I know we talked about FOMO, but you don't want to be constantly bombarding people with messages that make them feel anxious or stressed. It can backfire big time.
Right, it's like the boy who cried wolf.
Exactly. People will start to tune you out,
Yeah.
and you'll lose credibility.
So it's all about finding that balance.
Yeah, using those tactics strategically and authentically.
What about transparency?
Transparency is huge. Don't try to trick people with fake scarcity or exaggerated claims. Be upfront about your pricing, your shipping, your return policies. The more transparent you are, the more trust you'll build.
That makes a lot of sense. Any other ethical considerations we should keep in mind?
I think the most important thing is to always put the customer first. Think about how your actions will impact them in the long run. Are you building a relationship based on trust and mutual respect, or are you just trying to get them to click that buy button?
Right. It's about building those long-term relationships.
Exactly. Because in the end, happy, loyal customers are the best kind of customers.
So true. Okay, so we've talked about the ethics of emotional targeting. What about the future? Any trends we should be keeping an eye on?
Oh, absolutely. The world of e-commerce is constantly evolving, and emotional targeting is no exception. One trend I'm really excited about is AI-powered personalization.
Ooh, tell me more.
Imagine being able to tailor your emotional triggers to each individual shopper based on their past behavior, their preferences, their demographics.
So someone who's really into sustainability
Okay.
would see messages that highlight your brand's eco-friendly practices.
Exactly. While someone who's more price sensitive might see messages that focus on deals and discounts.
That's incredible.
Yeah, AI is going to revolutionize the way we do emotional targeting.
What about consumer values?
That's another big one. We're seeing a shift towards empathy, social responsibility, authenticity, especially among younger generations.
So brands need to be more than just profit-driven machines.
Exactly. They need to stand for something. And they need to show that they care about more than just the bottom line.
Okay, so we've got all this amazing information swirling around in our heads. Where do we go from here? How do we actually start putting all this into practice?
Well, the first step is to brainstorm. Sit down and really think about the emotions that are aligned with your brand and your products.
What feeling do you want people to have when they interact with your brand?
Exactly. Once you've got a good grasp on that, you can start mapping out how to use those emotions at each stage of the customer journey.
So we talked about using excitement and curiosity in the awareness stage.
Right. And then building trust and confidence in the consideration stage. And then creating a sense of urgency and scarcity in the purchase stage.
And then fostering loyalty and belonging in the post-purchase stage.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've brainstormed, we've mapped out our emotional strategy. What's next?
Next, you need to think about resources. Who's going to be responsible for making these changes? Do you have the in-house expertise? Or do you need to outsource some of the work?
Right. And then there's the timeline.
Don't try to do everything at once. Start small. Test your ideas, collect data, and gradually refine your approach over time.
That's great advice. Any common pitfalls we should try to avoid?
Well, one mistake I see a lot of brands make is overusing negative emotions. Like I said before, FOMO can be effective. But if you use it too much, it can start to feel manipulative.
Right. No one wants to feel like they're being pressured into buying something.
Exactly. Another mistake is ignoring logic entirely. Remember, even though emotions drive most of our buying decisions, logic still plays a role, so make sure you're also providing clear and compelling reasons why people should choose your products.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot.
Exactly. Balancing emotion and logic to create a truly persuasive shopping experience.
Well said. This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about emotional targeting
Yeah.
and how to use it to build a more successful brand.
Me too. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
And a huge thank you to our sponsor, Growth Suite. Growth Suite helps you to run smart discount campaigns on your store. Test it for free on your Shopify store. Just land on the Shopify App Store now and test it for free. And that's it for this episode of Conversion Bible. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.